Appreciate those songs this morning.
Yeah.
We need to cultivate an old-fashioned love for our country.
That's right, yeah.
I'm going to say this, and I hope it's taken in the right spirit. Back in the 1970s, that's 1970s, I have to clarify, I wasn't around in the 1870s, but in 1970s, a preacher friend of mine preached a great message on the two Americas. In the 70s, the two Americas. And it's almost prophetic as we see the direction of our country today. There are two Americas. And sometimes it's hard for us in one part of America to understand the other part of America. You see, the America that as a boy in public school years ago, when they taught us the Pledge of Allegiance, and I remember as a class we'd stand at attention, but there was nobody looking around the room, goofing off. Everybody stood at attention, put their hands up, because we knew people who had been to Vietnam.
Yes.
We knew families that had loved ones that didn't come home.
Yes.
And that flag meant something to us. And I remember there in public school, I must have been about third grade, so I can look back to my memories. I know we did it other times, but I remember third grade specifically doing that. And looking around the room, the students had tears streaming down their cheeks. Because we loved what that flag stood for. We loved America. And we were proud to be Americans. Because the America that we loved, that we were not churchgoers, but we thank God there were churches. Even though we weren't even Christians, because those were the good people that made the country strong. Even though we weren't even Christians growing up. We believe those were the people that have the moral backbone, that they were those who kept America strong.
Amen.
American, we pledge allegiance to the flag. It meant several things. It meant the Pilgrims eating that meal that year and sharing with the Indians' help. And by the way, it didn't mean that they were converted to animism like Walt Disney's Pocahontas.
Right.
Pocahontas was the first American convert to Christianity.
Amen.
Not what Walt Disney said. She even went to England and gave her testimony throughout England as a believer in Jesus Christ. But they rewrite history. That's the America that I love. The America where Christians, where the Pilgrims aboard the ship wrote the Mayflower Compact. Most of the boys and girls don't know what the Mayflower Compact is. It was a document before they ever got the ship that we have come to this country for the furtherance of the gospel of Jesus Christ. They didn't say we're getting off this ship to get rich. They didn't say we're getting off this ship to bring a better life to our family members. It was for the glory of Christ that they believed they got off of that ship. And when I think of the Declaration of Independence, some of you remember we used to have to memorize it in school. You said, well, why would you memorize that old piece of paper? Because if that old piece of paper didn't exist, you wouldn't be here. That's why.
That's right.
It tells you why. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you justify, I think we were talking about, how do you justify the war against England for our freedom? Well, if you want the best explanation, I read that, the Declaration of Independence explains why that was so. And why it's right at times to declare your independence. And then the Constitution. Remember we used to have to memorize the preamble to the Constitution? We, the people of the United States of America, don't want to memorize all that. I do know most of it. I've forgotten part of it. But we had to memorize it in school. Now they memorize what Beyonce song has.
Yeah.
I don't care what Beyonce song says. It's not worth listening to.
Amen.
It's filth. Shut it off. But that's the depth. That's the other America. And I have trouble with the America that at a ball game, when the Star Spangled Banner is played, when somebody who's lived under that flag and enjoyed the freedoms of it refuses to stand and recognize it. He's not a part of the America that I love. He's part of some other country.
Amen.
A country that I'm ashamed of.
Amen. Right.
I'm proud of the country, America, that I'm part of. And I hope today that you'll see this. This division didn't just start today. It's been around for a long time. And I can tell you even when it began when our Supreme Court decided that we no longer recognize common law. You know what common law was? That was law that you recognized because it was above man's law. Now common law is not recognized in our court system. There's just some things that are right and wrong because God said so. And we threw that out, and we begun using case law in our court system, and then just go back and find a case they like, and that's the one that becomes the one that they go by from that point on.
That's right.
And there's no continuity to it. That's not, choose the America you're going to be a part of today, and love America. You don't have to be ashamed of that America that you loved so many years, and still love. Stand for it.
Amen.
The one who embraced, I know this, that embraced the immigrants at the Statue of Liberty at Ellis Island. And by the way, still embraces the immigrants who come legally.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank God for this country. And but so much it's a nation of immigrants, it is a nation of immigrants. Even the Native Americans were immigrants.
Even we weren't.
Everybody. The Native Americans weren't Native Americans. There were people here before them, and they came here just like you came here, some by boat, some by land. And but thank God for America.
Amen.
Love her. Don't fly your flag. Show your patriotism. Show your respect for it, and don't let anybody rob you.
Heck yeah.
Thank God for this nation, the greatest nation upon the face of the earth. I'm not talking about that America promoted by Hollywood.
That's right.
Not talking about that America that's pushing pornography all over the world.
Amen.
That's not the America that I'm talking about. I'm talking about America, the church-going folks who love their families, who work hard, and that many have served and wear the military uniform and serve in our communities and represent that which is good.
Yes.
Take your hat off to them. I'm proud to be an American.
Amen.
I'm not ashamed to be American. I'm ashamed of some Americans, but I'm not ashamed of America. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. I just had to get that off my chest. All right?